What's up, guys? It's Dominique, aka That Therapist. For those of you that don't know me, I am the lead clinician and CEO for a group practice known as Yellow Bird Counseling. What do we do? Well, our normal everyday activities consist of providing individual, groups, family, couples, child, adolescent, teenager, geriatric, adult, college age, therapy, and or counseling in the states of Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, New Jersey, and Idaho. So that is what we do on our normal day-to-day weekly operations. However, what we do here on Thursday evenings around 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, I realize it's later than 8 p.m. because Mercury is grading on its retro. So it is. My whole day got pushed behind with sessions and everything today. So because my computer was not working correctly. So that part. But on a normal Thursday evening, we go live every Thursday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, which is 9 p.m. Eastern, which is 7 p.m. Mountain, which is 6 p.m. Pacific. And we talk about topics that the general public can relate to and tie it back to how we can all benefit from having a therapist. So that is what we do. That is what we've been doing. That is what we be doing. That is what we will keep doing. And we will definitely continue to do it during Mental Health Awareness Month. So y'all know me. If we're going to make it so that everybody can relate to it, it has to be in terms that we all have or questions that a lot of people have. So definitely, please share this live. If you want to join the effort in Mental Health Awareness Month, it costs you nothing. You can share it to your page. You can share it to your groups that you're in. You can click share and click more options, and you can share the link and DMs or text messages, but bring somebody in here that may be unfamiliar with therapy, or maybe it's a new concept to them, or maybe they never heard of therapy, okay? Or maybe they don't believe in therapy or whatever. All that, bring them. We want them. Or friends and family that are also advocates, bring them in as well, because they may answer some questions for them as well. Because the angle I'm be hitting it from, clients and clinicians alike could benefit from watching the live. So definitely share, get cozy, get you a snack, get you something to drink, because we're going to talk about how to prepare for your first session. And if you're in therapy, you might be like, well, what do you mean? Like, well, think back on it, like your first therapy session ever. Did you have the thoughts of like, what do I need to expect? I don't know what to expect. How do I prepare? What do I say? Like, what do we do? Like, what is it? So I have those questions when people call. They're like, I'm not really sure how all this goes. I don't really know what to do. So I'm very patient with them, and I tell them, the initial steps to really help them so they can get acclimated to the process. So I'm like, okay, if so many people are calling me just unsure about how to get acclimated to the process, then let's start talking there. Let's this there, and let's break the stigma. Y'all can't see it. I have my breaking the stigma shirt on. Y'all be able to see it once I share my screen. But so I had developed a consultation questionnaire for my therapist to use during our wellness expo that we hosted last year, and we hope to host again this year as a charitable event this time. So we're going to be doing that, but that's where this consultation packet came from. And so it has some very general questions in it that a clinician may have for a client, or a client may need to know to ask a clinician, because they may not know what to ask. So I try to tell all of our clients, I try to give them, like, we just had a new therapist started seeing clients this week. So I sent them all a welcome email of what to expect of our processes and things like that, who to reach out to for different things, if they needed anything. So it's because people just don't know. They don't know. Sometimes people, because it's a lot for them to process when they call, we'll tell them the name of the therapist, and then when I go back to check to be sure that the therapist reached out to them, then they don't even know the therapist's name. So I've sent like a lot of therapists, and it's not because the therapist didn't tell them. I think what's happening is the client is processing a lot at one time for a new experience. So I feel like if people are able to get the information in a consumable manner, where they can replay a video or, take some notes, then that might be more beneficial. And if we share together, we share the live together, we can bring awareness to other people that may need it. So that's my whole spiel. That's why I decided to go from this angle this evening. So what I'm going to do while y'all are sharing is hold on. I am going to share my screen so you can see the list. Okay. There. Hold on. Am I sharing? I think I am. Let me go back to, oh man, you can't hardly see it. It ain't big. Oh, can you do it like, can I do it like that? No. It's small. It's tiny. I don't know. It's just too little. Well, I'm going to read it off anyway. I just didn't know it was going to be tiny, tiny like that. Like, who can see it? But it's okay because we're going to go through them together. That's what we're going to do. So, all right. So one of the first things, like once you figure out, maybe you saw something on TikTok, or maybe you saw something on Instagram, or maybe a friend told you that they started therapy, or maybe you heard about it on a show, or maybe you're watching a show about therapy and you're like, I wonder if therapy is something that I need. So the first thing you want to figure out about that is maybe what areas of your life could you make improvements in? So that's an easier question if you examine. Maybe can you make improvements in your day-to-day organization? Could you make improvements in development of goals and execution of those goals? Could you develop better boundaries or be able to communicate more comfortably or more effectively? Could you learn how to implement proper time management? Do you feel like you have issues with impulsiveness, like impulsive spending, impulsive eating, anything impulsive, like something that maybe when you look back on it in a more regulated state, it wasn't something you would have wanted to do? Are you having issues with substance consumption of any kind, of like a substance like drugs or alcohol? Did you have a really active childhood? Like, did you see a lot of domestic violence? Did you witness people yelling at each other? Did you have a parent that worked a lot, maybe wasn't able to be there? Maybe you didn't have a parent that was present because they chose not to be there. Was there some type of physical, sexual, emotional, verbal abuse going on at home or at school? Do you deal with feeling really anxious or nervous, or do you deal with feeling down and lack of interest or pleasure in doing things? So like, do you see the array of different topics that can be covered? So those are questions, and maybe some people answer yes to the more counseling questions, and maybe others answer yes to the more therapy questions, and maybe there are people that answer yes to both. So like the organization, time management, development of life goals and execution of those goals. That would be more counseling needs, and therapeutic needs would be more of your experience in some sort of something going on that could affect your functioning in some way or another, like your ability to eat, your ability to sleep. Because y'all was probably thinking, when I said functioning, you was probably thinking like not being able to, having maybe some sort of developmental delay. No, not always. Your ability to eat, your ability to sleep, your ability to concentrate, your ability to wake up, your ability to go to sleep, your ability just to do pleasurable activities. Those things could be impaired, and because of that, and it could be due to some sort of mental illness. So does that mean that they are something that can't be managed, or something that makes you less of a person, or something that makes you I don't know, not able to work or learn? No, not necessarily. Sometimes, but not a lot of times. In fact, I did a live a couple years ago on like people that there's a correlation between hypermind, hyperbody people. So hypermind, always think your thoughts racing, hard to concentrate, and in intellect. So there is a correlation between highly intelligent people and mental illness. And whereas people may have thought it was people that were on the lower end of the IQ spectrum, they would be experiencing mental illness more. No, it's something that's very prevalent in those who have higher IQs or above average IQs. So yeah, no, that's a thing. So are you above average IQ? You might be dealing with things that are distressing to you, due to that. So there's an array of things that you would come see a licensed therapist for. And there's different types of therapists as far as their degree type, but they can, carry out sessions. I'll just focus on therapists that can carry out sessions, since we're talking about session prep tonight. So, psychologists can do therapy sessions. Licensed clinical social workers can do therapy sessions. Licensed professional counselors can do therapy sessions. So those are the types of psychiatrists can, but oftentimes if they're not trained in therapy, they should probably not do it. They should probably be trained in it. They can do it, but they should be trained. If they're not trained, it's probably not going to be beneficial. So those are the four. And I think possibly nurse practitioners can. I'm not super sure about that. Maybe psychiatric nurse practitioners more specifically can do therapy sessions, but the more common types of therapists you'll see is probably LPC, LICSW, which is the licensed clinical social worker. LPC is the licensed professional counselor or psychologist. Those are the more common types of therapists out here that you'll see. So, they all just have a little bit, different training, but they're all able to carry out therapy sessions. So that's what's important for what we're discussing. So definitely asking yourself any of those number of questions, or even if you just feel like off and just need some support from somebody, and you may not know what the issue is or the answer is, but you could still just get an assessment, have a first session just to see. I've had people come to me just to check in, just to make sure they were okay, but they didn't necessarily have a problem. I've had that happen. So that's the thing people do, and that's totally fine. Let me, while I am talking about this, let me navigate back over to see if y'all have any questions. Definitely ask them. Again, please share this live as I'm going through these questions, because I'm sure there's at least one person on your timeline who has considered, or thought about, or heard about therapy, and they're not really sure what does that look like. So I'm going to be giving a very thorough beginning to next session kind of synopsis. So, and with these questions, so definitely be sure you're sharing this live on your page, you're sharing it in your Facebook groups, you're sharing it in, click the more options, click share, click more options, share the link either via text or DM or something like that, because it is Mental Health Awareness Month and we are trying to break the stigma. Y'all see, that's my shirt breaking. You see how the stigma is breaking. I'm very proud of that. But May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So we do want to bring awareness to mental health. And I think bringing awareness to the therapeutic process is largely going to help with that. Then I'm going to give y'all a number for the people that simply just text one word if they feel like therapy would be right for them. So it's not a big process. They just text one word and we'll get them set up. All right. But definitely ask your questions if you have any, and I will be navigating back. So, all right, cool. All right, so let's look and see. So the first one was, why are you considering therapy now? Like, what about this particular time? And sometimes that takes clients a minute to answer. And this is more for yourself. This may be a question that you'll get from the therapist. Oftentimes it will be like, we want to know what your what we call a presenting concern is. So we want to know what brings you in at this particular time in your life. So that may be something to ask yourself, definitely something that a therapist will ask you. So you may expect that. So just getting prepared, maybe, and if you don't know, that's okay. You can say you don't know. That's fine too. Have you ever been to therapy before? That's a question that a therapist, you may more so hear from the therapist. And what are you looking for in a therapist? Now, that is very important because people want to know what a good fit is, but you need to have at least a loose understanding of what a good fit would look like to you in order for us to get you paired. So I do the very basic things and then let the therapist further carry on a consultation with the potential client so the client can ask more clinical questions. But the thing you're going to want to first know is if the therapist takes your insurance type. And if you don't have insurance, you want to know, what is their cost? What is their private pay cost? So that's something you will want to know before your first session. Does your insurance cover the session? And if not, what's the private pay cost? A lot of times your health insurance is going to cover your therapy sessions. I've seen very few plans, health insurance plans, where it doesn't cover. It's not that often that I see that. But if you have Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna, Viva, TRICARE, Cigna, Bright Health, United Air, stuff like that, more than likely 9 times out of 10 it covers your therapy. And so what you would do, because you want to know, okay, so, how much will it cover? Sometimes it covers it 100%, but not always. Sometimes it covers like 70 or 80%. So this is what you would want to do. Again, before your first session, you would want to look at the back of your insurance card if you have insurance. Look at the back of your insurance and call that customer service number. Then you want to ask them, you want to say, hey, what is my patient responsibility for therapy sessions? And basically what you're asking them is, how much will I have to pay? And they'll say, well, you're covered at 100% of the cost, or you have a $1 copay, or you have a $5,000 deductible, or you have a co-insurance, which is the percentage, where like a copay is a set dollar amount. A co-insurance is a percentage of whatever the cost of the session is. So like for Blue Cross Blue Shield, for example, the cost of the session is $136. So you may have to pay 10% of that $136, so like $14. You may have to pay that, and that would be a 10% co-insurance. Or you'll have a co-pay, which is your $20, your $30, your $25, your $40, your $50, your $60, those dollar amounts. That's your co-pay. Now, if you have a deductible, that means, this is very unfortunate, this is what I don't like about insurance. If you have a $5,000 deductible and the session and insurance says that a therapy session costs $136, you have to pay that $136 until your deductible is met. The good thing about the deductible is that's a deductible collectively of all the doctors you go to. But if you're a relatively healthy person with a $5,000 deductible, you're probably not going to meet that. So you have to pay that until your deductible is met, and then your insurance may cover you at 100% of the cost, or it may cover 80%, or just have you pay a $20 copay after that. And the therapist has to collect that $136, even if you'll never meet the deductible. So that's an unfortunate thing, but an option that we have is we have therapists that can't take insurance. And so since we have therapists that aren't able to take insurance, people that have insurance that can't afford their deductible, they can see one of our private pay therapists, and that cost of a session is significantly less than paying the deductible for a therapist who can't take your insurance. So we have both options. We have therapists that can take insurance, and we have therapists that can't take insurance. So if you choose to pay out of pocket private pay, you can, because they're not paneled with the insurance anyway. You're not allowed to take it. You do want to make sure you don't have an out of network. But the therapist, I'm very strategic about the therapists that take private pay. They're not able to be paneled with insurance, so they're not even an out of network. What may happen, what something may do, is if you see one of my private pay therapists and you pay the private pay rate, some insurances will allow you to apply that to your deductible, but you have to ask them. You have to ask them. So again, the first thing you would want to do is, if you have insurance, call that customer service number on the back of your insurance card, and you're going to want to ask them, what is my patient responsibility for therapy sessions? Also, ask them if you need a primary care physician referral, because you're going to have to get that referral before your first session, within 72 hours of your first session. Otherwise, that session is going to be the patient's responsibility, because the way that the referral works is until insurance has that referral for you on file, it's the patient's responsibility to pay for the session. So you want to be sure that you get that. You want to get that referral before your first session with your therapist, within 72 hours of that session. And so those are things you're going to want to know. Let's look and see, because I know that was a lot. So let me look and see if I got some questions. Let's see. Yes. Yeah, I had to explain. You're welcome. What do I do if a therapist just stopped calling me? If they stopped calling you, does that mean she gave up? No, not necessarily. I have therapists. Let me explain something about the mental health field in general with therapists. So we are still very much in a mental health crisis, and sometimes therapists find themselves getting a little overwhelmed. I try to do a real good job about trying to check in. Like, I think if you're one of our clients and you're in the community, I something, maybe like a couple, maybe like beginning of last month, like, hey, is your therapist a good fit? And if not, let us know why. Sometimes, I just have to end on the back end. I'm like really working with the therapist on structure of like calling people back and stuff. But no, sometimes they just get overwhelmed. And I know for us, because we get so many clients, sometimes human error happens. So it could just be a human error thing. But therapist is not just, we're not supposed to just abandon our clients. So I would be less likely to think it's an abandonment thing, because we just can't do that. We can't just throw our hands up and say, oh, I don't want to work with that person anymore. We can refer them to someone else and properly terminate the therapeutic relationship. But therapists, we're not supposed to just say, I'm just not going to answer their calls no more. We can't just do that. So it's probably less likely that it's that. So I would try to reach out, or if it's like if it's one of my therapists, definitely reach out to me if you're part of our practice. I don't know, but I would try to reach out to them, give them a call, email. But if it's us, then I'll text the number, the 205-964-5201. Let me know, and I'll follow it, because I try to be good about that. Let's see. Let's see. I'm looking at the comments. When your therapist asks you, what do you want from therapy? What is the answer they want to hear? It's not about what they want to hear. It's about you. Like, that's what Malika said. Be honest as possible. It's about you, not them. It's not about what your therapist wants to hear, because you're not there to please them. You're there to get help for yourself. So anything, and if you don't know, tell your therapist that. Say, hey, honestly, I've never thought about it before. I don't know. Maybe you can help me explore that, and maybe we can come up with an answer together, or maybe you can help me find that answer, because I've never thought about that before. That's a thing too. But it never feel like you got to do something for the therapist. I always joke and say therapy is the only one-sided relationship that I'm okay with. What does that mean? It is not my client's job to give me anything. It's their job to come in ready to give their self something. But other than payment, it's not their job to protect my emotions. It's not their job to watch out for how I feel about something. It's not their job to accommodate me in any way. Like, no, of course, life happens if a therapist is running late or something like that. But it's not their job to like do something that harmful to themselves in any way in order to make my life easier. No, that's not how that works. So I'm very glad you asked that, because I'm sure a lot of people think that or have that question. So that's a very great question, and I think that's what steers people away, because it can seem like an intimidating relationship, but no. It's one-sided. The therapist is just supposed to be there for you. You're not supposed to be there for them. They should have their own therapist for that. I have my own therapist to be there for me. I don't need my clients to be there for me. I need to be there for them. So that's how that works. You're most welcome. I'm glad you asked that, though. That was a very good question. All right. Okay. So if you've been in therapy before, if I have a client that's come in, they've been in therapy before, I'm going to ask them, what has worked for you in the past? Like, what has been something, like, what with your past therapy, what didn't work? So we don't got to reinvent the wheel. Thank you. We don't got to reinvent the wheel. We'll just, figure out what worked. Pick up with what worked. Don't even worry with what didn't work. Or if it didn't work, why do we think it didn't work? Or if it did work, why do we think it worked? So, if you've been to therapy before and something did or didn't work for you, you can be open and share that with a therapist. this could be a question you ask yourself, or this could be a question that a therapist asks their client. What does the depression, anxiety, substance abuse look like for you? Like, have you experienced that? Is that something you're familiar with? Is that something? No, I haven't had any experiences with that. I haven't ever seen any evidence of that. We do need to know that. Do you know how to set boundaries with family, friends, work, and self? Do you know how to set those boundaries? Do you not know what boundaries are? If the answer is no, then you would circle no. If you're able to articulate what your boundaries are, then you probably have them, or at least you're aware that you need them. And maybe the execution might be the issue. So that's a good question to ask yourself. How do you cope with stress? Or do you cope with stress well? That's a question you might want to ask yourself. Have you ever experienced mental, emotional, physical pain from family and friends? Yes or no? These are questions I asked in the first session. So again, these are questions you may yourself to know if you might need some therapeutic guidance. Have you ever been bullied or made fun of? Yes or no? That's a big deal. People try to minimize bullying, like sticks and stones may break my bones type shit, but no, words are very hurtful and damaging. There is a such thing as verbal abuse, where you can abuse somebody and not lay a finger on them. So verbal abuse is a thing. So no, it's not sticks and stones, because you can be traumatized by words. So don't let people try to minimize that for you, and don't you minimize it for yourself. Do your parents support your mental, emotional, and I don't know what I was trying to say. Mental and emotional growth, I think, is what that should have said. But that's a big deal, especially in the African American community, especially in the South. Like, we're very communal, and so how other people think is something we consider. Now, whether we act on it or not is something different, but it's at least something, a question we ask ourselves, even if it's fleeting, like, what will my friends, family, mom, dad think? And so the therapist, that's something you might want to ask yourself if that's something that you might struggle with, so you can let the therapist know how to, they know how to work with you better. And what insurance do you have? Of course, you want to know what's your health insurance. And it'll say health on there. And again, that customer service number on the back of that card is what you're going to want to call. And ask them again, what's your patient responsibility? Again, that's the cost of your session that you would owe. Or do you need a referral? So those are a physician referral, a primary care referral. So those are a lot of the questions, that people have when they call, or that we address pretty regularly. So that's pretty much, those are the things you want to consider when preparing for your first session. I also ask people, do they have a preference for ethnicity of the therapist? Like, I got some white therapists, I got some black therapists, and that, especially for us in the African American black community, we might want somebody that looks like us, so that they can understand our experience a little bit easier without a lot of explanation. Nobody wants to explain all their nuances that take from the larger things you might want to discuss, having to focus on nuances and semantics. So you want to just kind of bypass that. And if I say, I don't know, something that culturally, something that I use, and maybe a white therapist wouldn't get that. Like, I do have a white therapist, but I'm also a therapist, so I say that. I'm like, I wouldn't recommend a white therapist. I have had to explain a lot of things to my white therapist. And I have white therapists that work for me that see my black clients. And I have black clients that don't have a preference. They don't necessarily need to see a black therapist, which is also fine. But the ones that do, I have plenty of black therapists for them, because that is a real need and we are hard to find. In fact, black therapists only make up 4% of the entire mental health profession. So most of it is white. And there's more than 4% of the black community that need therapy. It's probably more like 98%. Okay. So 4%, the math ain't mathing. So yeah. But yes, what other questions do y'all have? You are most welcome. What other questions do y'all have? Also, again, please be sure to share the live. So your friend, family, coworker, mama, daddy, auntie, cousin, sister, brother can be sure to understand, maybe have a pretty general understanding of what to expect with their first therapy session and how to get prepared for that first therapy session. Okay? All right. I think that's all I wanted to cover as far as the literature that I had. But definitely feel free to ask questions. Also, too, if you know somebody who may need us, or if you yourself need us, you can just take a screenshot. I'm about to give you our number to text. And you can just text this one word to this number. You'll just simply text the word new to 964-5201 if you live in the states of Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, New Jersey, and Idaho. You will text that word new to that number. We take Blue Cross Blue Shield, we take Aetna, we take VIVA, we take TRICARE, we take United Healthcare, we take Cigna, BHS, we take Optum. So we take all of them. So if you have any of those insurances, and then you can also, if you text the word new, you can get information on our private rates that we have if you don't have insurance or if you have a high deductible. So yeah. That part. Well, wait a minute. Somebody asked, do you work with out of town or out of state? Yes, we work with anybody in the state of Alabama. We can work with anybody in the state of Mississippi, Louisiana, New Jersey, and Idaho. And then at the end of the year, probably like a total of 35 states that we'll be able to see people in. Super excited about that. But right now, those are the states that we service. So if you're in one of those 5 states, definitely feel free to reach out to us and set up. And then if you're not, and you don't happen to find somebody better suited for you by the end of the year, then we'll probably have you, because there are so many states that I'll be able to see clients in that I can't even list them all. So, how long will each session last? That's a good one. I knew I forgot something. Thank you, Toya, for asking that. An hour. Typical session is an hour. 50 minutes to an hour. Now, of course, based on the client's level of functioning, that may wax and wane, but in general, it's an hour. That's a good question. Thanks for asking. What else? Let's see. Cool. Awesome. I'm glad. Y'all had some really great questions tonight, and that is super, super exciting for me. But if y'all don't have any other questions, you know what time it is. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, then you need to text the word live to this number. You can still text the word new, but also you want to text the word live so you don't miss out again, especially this month during Mental Health Awareness Month. Because, of course, this is my month. I did not get my green nails yet, but that doesn't mean I won't have them by next week. Just because I don't have them this week does not mean I won't have them by next week. And I found an idea for some hair jewelry. So, yeah. So, don't worry. But I got my Breaking the Stigma t-shirt on. You see how the stigma is breaking? If you want that, you can go to ybcbrand.com. You can go to ybcbrand.com so you can rep mental health awareness on your chest this month. You can go to ybcbrand.com. Get you one of these. This is in the OG collection. OG collection. That's where you'll find this shirt. You can get fitted or you can get unisex fit, whichever you prefer. All right? Cool. All right. So it is now time for the $100 Cash App giveaway. And if you are in the text community, then of course you know that there's extra added bonus that you are aware of that the people in the newsletter were not. So that's why it's important to be on the newsletter and in the text community so you don't miss nothing. All right, let's see here what we got. Woo woo. Let me see what I got here. Okay. Of course, y'all know I don't have no pen or nothing, so let me grab it. And this note card. Oh, those over there now. Those do work. Oh, thought she met me with the pin so I didn't have to walk all the way over there. Let's see. Yep, this one works. All right, y'all ready? Yes, y'all are. So you know how it goes. Get your ears ready because I'm going to say your name and your number 2 times. And you got to keep up with it. There y'all go. Y'all be like, where's Star? Where's Star? There she is, putting up groceries. And you got McDonald's French fries. I'm not supposed to be eating that, Lindsay. Today. I'm sorry, I just can't stop eating them. Because they are delicious.
The whole city was at McDonald's.
I can believe it. Because they cook their fries in their beef fat. Yes, when they're hot. And if you have an air fryer, you can bring them back to life. Throw a little bit of olive oil on top of them. It's like they just got refried. All right. Let's see. All right. So name and number twice. Malika Cole, number 1. Malika Cole, number 1. Antoinette Danielle, number 2. Antoinette Danielle, number 2. Nikki Leilani, number 3. Nikki Leilani, number 3. Toya Betts, number 4. Toya Betts, number 4.
Oh, only 4, looks like.
I knew it.
Huh?
Bunny, as soon as I was getting ready to go get the room, she's gonna come.
You burn everything in the air fryer. Yeah, you gotta look. You do gotta watch it. Or make sure you got a timer on there from before. Just put the timer on long enough to then where you check it, and then you might put it on like the microwave. I think that's everybody. Okay. So it's 4. Keep it cute and simple tonight.
25% ours. I like those.
I would too. If I was trying to win me some cold hard cash. Cold hard cash. All right. Let's get it crack-lacking. And let's do this number wheel. Branchkey. No, Mr. Carter, don't start. I don't care. Mr. Carter just think he about to. All right. Oh, no, I didn't share my screen, but it's okay. I didn't do nothing yet. Dang. I had Mr. Carter started talking and threw me off. Okay. Don't worry. I haven't updated it yet. So 1, and then it goes up to 12. 4. All right. Y'all ready? Let's see. Can y'all see it? Y'all ready? Let me look. All right. Cool. This is good. Let's see who get it. All right. Let's spin. Oh. Uh-oh. Oh, wow. Is that Malika Cole? Malika Cole, did you get number 1? Is that who that was? Let's see. Got it. Yay. Malika Cole. You got it. Did you bring some friends? If you bring your friends, let me see. Who are they? Yay! Malika Cole, you got it. Congratulations. Congratulations. Y'all give her some hearts and stuff. Hearts and congratulations. And like all that and all that. You're her friend? Okay. Toy Bets. Toy Bets is Malika Cole's friend. I'll allow it. I'll allow it even though y'all both come. All right, so Malika gets $125. Yes. I'll allow it. You know what I'm saying? I'll allow it. I like to give. I'm a giver. So let's see. All right. It's me, my Cash App guy. Oh, okay. All right, Malika. I'll send it to this one. How y'all Cash App getting hacked? Like, how does that happen? I don't know how it happens. It's unfortunate. LeVar. I'm trying to make it right because I have accidentally sent it to the wrong person before. Okay, this looks right.
Finish eating. Pull the trash bag
All right. Confirm.
Congratulations from Yellowbird Counseling. Yay! Now look, make sure you get this from LeVar, because that's who I sent it to. I sent it to LeVar Barnett on your behalf. So you gotta let me know that you got it, because I'm gonna be like, LeVar, make sure Malika gets her money now. Yay! It's so exciting. I love that. Let's see. Let me see. That's Bay Cash. Okay. As long as that's Bay. All right. All right. Because I was going to be checking in with LeVar. You yelling downstairs. Yeah, tell him. Let you want to give him some. Sir, that's not yours. You didn't do the work. Yay, got it. Okay, so Malika got it. Yes. Ah! I'm so excited. Okay, good. Well, great. So that's how we do here in Yellowbird Nation. We be educating, and giving, whether that be services, Cash App giveaways, information. So we be doing that. So come around us Thursday evenings, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Mountain, and 6 p.m. Pacific. We'll be here. Be ready to bring your friends. Tell them to pull up. Be ready to share. Join us next Thursday as we go on to talk about, again, because I've been saying I'll do it, counseling versus therapy. What's the difference in counseling and therapy? So I'm going to be doing a deep dive on next week. So definitely come and be ready so you'll know what to expect. But other than that, y'all have a great weekend. And why he said you better not be over there doing nothing strange. No, you are being a mental health advocate. That is what matters. You are advocating for the mental health of the world at large, and more specifically, your people. No, you're not doing nothing strange. Threw me out. I was closing out. So yes, I will see y'all next week for that discussion. And y'all be safe out here. These streets is getting warm. Be safe.